converted their Joy Street Theater's auditorium by the government in 2000. The College of the Bahamas Auditorium, the Rainforest Theater, the Atlantis Theater, and others. Another core of performers, writers, and technicians were appearing out of many large non-denominational churches, particularly Bahamas Faith Ministries, which made culture a core part of its offering, and which for many years employed Kayla Lockett Edwards to oversee their development. James Catlin and Friends continued to produce Summer Madness and other shows. Apart from Summer Madness, the most significant contributions to the theater of the first decade of the 21st century would include Michael Pintard's canon of work, Still Standing, Woman Talk, Man Talk, and the widely popular Election satires, Election 2002 and 2007. Therese Davis's one-woman show and her character, Miss Daisy. Track Road's productions of serious drama, including Strawn's Diary of Souls, The Devil on the Cross, and several pieces by new writers, Huggins' The Hold-Up, Nikita Eve's Island Sex, Dion Sims' Slaps, Emil Hunt's The Market Fire, and others. Ringplay Productions, performances of Macbeth, the Bahamian revival of music of the Bahamas, The Landlord, Single 7, Father's Day, You Can Lead a Horse to Water, the revival of Driving Miss Daisy, and Nicolette Bethel's new play, The Children's Teeth. Perhaps the most influential of the new wave of theater in the 21st century, however, is Thoughtcatcher Enterprises, their annual extravaganza, The Spot. In 2003, another development would impact the development of theater. And that was the establishment of the Bahamas International Film Festival, which encouraged the development of young Bahamian filmmakers. Many would-be actors and playwrights gravitated towards film. The Bahamian theatrical product, however, continued to shine both at home and abroad. Pintard and Catlin toured the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands with their productions. Track Road performed in New Orleans and Barbados. Thoughtcatcher made appearances in Jamaica. Ringplay interpretations of You Can Lead a Horse to Water were taken to Michigan and Trinidad. Bethel's The Children's Teeth played in Guyana. These groups also branched out into unusual spaces such as the refurbished Fort Charlotte, the Hub, Nirvana, and the National Trust Retreat. In 2009, seeing the need for a new coming together of theatrical styles, the building of new Bahamian audiences, and the creation of a fully fledged theater industry, Ringplay Productions, in conjunction with Track Road Theater and other partners, launched Shakespeare in Paradise, an international theater festival. The founders of Ringplay Productions consisted of the core members of the Dundas Repertory Seasons Management Committee, which had been disbanded in 1998. Part of their goal in founding Shakespeare in Paradise was to provide new avenues to achieve what the season had been able to do in 19 years. Expose Bahamians to a range of theater, provide people with professional grade training, and build audiences. Thank you.
Would you like to entertain any questions?
Sure.
Yes.
Any questions?
Just to be complete, I think we should recall that there was a theater in the round at the British Colonial Hotel Playhouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I mentioned it, but I didn't know it was theater in the round. I don't.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
I edited it. And the actors were not Bahamians.
No, they came in.
They were all professional movie actors,
Yeah.
mostly from the United States.
My mother worked there.
And they were not paid.
No.
They were given free
Room and board.
board and room for 1 week at
okay.
the hotel, and in exchange, 2 or 3 or 4 nights a week there.
I know Sylvia Sidney came to perform. My mother used to work at that hotel at that time.
And the one other I'd like to mention is that in the 1800s, in the center of the 3 public buildings on Bay Street where Queen Victoria's statue is, there was theater in the upstairs section from time to time.
There was a
You
lot
mean
of
like they
art.
actually performed upstairs on the porch and people would watch up there? Is that what you mean?
No.
No, in the building
Inside.
itself.
In the
Yeah.
building itself. I think I mentioned it in my...
There used to be a number of garden theatre productions as well. Garden productions, because the
Government house.
no, but even in houses, because Thompson out east,
Valley Crystal.
yeah, they used to do performances there as well. Opstock actually did one of their productions out there.
Yeah, and Valley Crystal and Bear and
Yeah.
a number of places. He's still
Kevin.
Just a couple of things following on from what Ronnie said earlier about the Bahama Playhouse productions. Remember again, this was in the segregated period, so that the Bahama Playhouse of the colonial tended only to be attended by the white population. But what would happen is that on the Saturdays, they would repeat the performance at the Capitol Theatre over the hill, where many of us were then able to go and attend and see the same productions in the Capitol Movie Theatre.
Oh, interesting.
And one other thing, just going back to the 19th century, and then I'll shut up. If you go through some of the old 19th century newspapers, you do see a lot of information about actual little theatrical groups that were part of the activities, primarily, I think, kind of urged by women, because they needed something to do in the evening, something constructive. And they actually had performances and so on. I don't know if those were some of the ones that were performed in that space.
1831,
Yeah.
or two under James Carmichael Smith's reign. There was a couple of plays there, and
Yeah.
he lists.
And they actually, they would have subscriptions to theatrical societies. They had a lot of different things, and they would put on, a different group of people would put on a series of lectures. This was a form of continuing education. That's how I come to notice it. Thank you.
Calvin.
Right.
Thanks.
It's just, I just felt that I just wish that we could take this topic and actually expand it, because of course there's so much more that, as you said, could be added to it. In particular, I want to also point out the Grand Bahama plays and also the Freeport plays.
I totally agree
Yeah,
with
they
Freeport,
got
which is
big-
important.
That's a
Living in
whole
Freeport
different.
for a few years,
Yeah.
being a member of the Grand Bahama plays, but
The Guild.
the Freeport Guild and their ownership of the theater, etc., and they do some wonderful,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
wonderful
Yeah.
productions.
Oh yeah, she's
as well.
got a whole chapters on Freeport. I just didn't think we had the time
Yeah.
for me to be able to go into that.
Now, if I might, because I also want to ask you something from a societal standpoint, but also that period just before you came back, I would have been involved with theater coming out of high school with the Bahama Drama Circle, and so, of course, with the Claudette Islands as well, and then we crossed paths a couple of times. So there was a tremendous period even before
There was,
that you got into as well.
you know, the lull.
Yeah.
The funny thing about it is, it was the end of, when 78 ended, there was almost nothing done in 79. There was very little happening in 79. And as you said, the productions back then used to be 3 evenings. You would rehearse for a month, 2 months, and you'd perform for 3 nights. So basically, when you have the Nassau Players, the Operatic Society, and the Operatic Society, I was a member of the Operatic Society, the 2 productions of the Operatic Society. And that was a social thing. We rehearsed for months, all right? I mean, we rehearsed for months. And it was a major thing when you came out. They had a whole canteen, Kitty Lawrence and those, they took care of everybody. You know, that was a social thing.
And of course, nobody was paid at that time.
No,
Nobody was paid.
and
Gail and then you.
it was basically 3 nights.
Yeah.
So if you had